Welcome to Animates, a retro anime review comedy podcast. These episodes contain spoilers and adult language, so stick around if you're cool like that. Hello and welcome to Animates, your source for all things retro anime. I am your host, Mackenzie, and this week I am joined by the goth bastard himself, a man with a voice so alluring it tames creatures of the dark and pulls those devoted to the light into the shadows themselves. It is the one, the only, Dylan from Anime Out of Context.
Hello, welcome.
Ooh, shivers.
I was so incredibly tempted to do a Sean impression.
Do it.
Just say, hello, hi!
Oh my god. Incredible. Thank you so much for coming on this week. For those who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello. For those of you who are unaware, I'm sure there's a handful. My name is Dylan. I am the editor and producer and occasional guest host of Anime Out of Context, as well as the editor for Shonen Flop. I'm also a freelance voice actor. So if you like the sound of my voice, you can pay me money to say things you want.
Yeah, I'll have a link to his socials in the description of this episode. Do it. You will not be disappointed. As you had mentioned, you are an editor of two whole anime manga podcasts. What is your relation to anime?
So I grew up, my parents hated anime with a passion. They called it like crapame or any of those like boomer things that you would say about Japanese media. And they refused to let me watch any of it. But I would occasionally, turn my TV on late at night when Toonami would be on Cartoon Network. Or when Adult Swim, whenever they would occasionally play things like Lupin the Third. So I would always get that kind of, I felt, like I was getting away with something whenever I was watching anime.
Yep.
And so I've always leaned because of watching things that were on Toonami. So it was always stuff like Dead Man Wonderland, like Dragon Ball Z. So some of the more violent ones.
Yeah.
And then in regards to Adult Swim, there was stuff like Lupin the Third, Golden Bat, Paranoia Agent. Yep. So it's always the ones that are a bit more, adult oriented, a bit edgier. A little more twisted. Which probably had a lot to do with the way I am today, actually. So that's kind of what I grew up on. The reason I got into anime podcasting was actually because I was listening to Sean, because Sean had me record the intro for Anime Out of Context before I was ever really involved with the show. And I also enjoyed listening to the show when I was driving home from work. And Remington was the editor at the time. And I would always send notes like, hey, Remington, here's at this timestamp, here's something that kind of went wonky. And then at one point they just said, hey, fuck it, do you just want to edit the show? And I just took over.
Nice. I mean, as someone who edits hours, I would love to have another editor, but I'm also so picky about things. I don't know if I could give up that control.
Yep, I feel you. Especially there's times when I'm like, man, I've got like so much stuff going on that I may not be able to have time for this deadline on editing this particular project. It was like, no, fuck it. I have to get that done. I can't let anyone else touch my baby.
So are you more a fan of the retro or the modern anime?
I would probably say retro, anything pre-Dark Times, to go with Remington's nomenclature for the 2010 to 2015 era of anime. But I do like a handful of the newer ones as well.
Okay. And I'm assuming it's pretty damn safe to say that you're a horror fan.
Well, let me just, undo my sleeve right here and show off my chainsaw and my Audrey 2 tattoos. Yes, I am a massive horror fan. I started working at haunted houses when I was 12 years old.
Do you have a favorite horror movie?
It's Evil Dead 2.
I mean, hey,
that's I've got a prop wearable chainsaw in the other room. Like the Evil Dead franchise has been
nice.
It's what I really latched on to.
Hell yeah. Here's the problem with anime and horror. It often falls incredibly fucking flat.
Absolutely.
Holy shit, is it hard to find actually scary horror anime?
Yes. Oh, there was actually an episode of yours that I was listening to earlier today. It was something cat. I wish I could remember.
Lily Cat?
Yes,
the
Lily
Alien,
Cat.
Our latest one? Yeah, the fucking Alien ripoff.
Yes, it was Lily Cat. And I was thinking, wow, there's some actual horror elements in there, but everything else just sounds like utter dog water, which unfortunately is how most horror media in general tends to fall flat, because unfortunately it doesn't attract the money and the polish that it really deserves.
Yeah, exactly. Anime horror does really good with psychological.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you very rarely get actually like piss your pants scary horror anime. It just doesn't really exist. I brought something called The Curse of Katsuo Umezu, which does a really good job at capturing it. So it wasn't like horrifying, but it does this really good job at capturing the right vibe. But we tried to do a spooky showdown for a Halloween episode, and the thing that Lindsay brought, that the scary thing to me was that it was basically about neckbeard nerds. That was a scary thing for me. That's why she won. Like, that's like, it's crazy. But so yeah, there's not a lot that to do with horror anime. So you kind of have to rely more on the tropier comedy side for horror instead of the scary side, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I absolutely adore horror comedies.
Oh yeah.
But you do have to, you have to have actual horror with the horror comedies.
Yeah.
That's why, Army of Darkness is also one of my favorite films of all times, but there's no horror elements in that. It is entirely a slapstick comedy.
Oh yeah. Now, speaking on slapsticking, or more so the punchy side of that, we've talked about older video games before. We talked about House of Dead the other week and things like that. Are you a retro gamer by chance?
I've been building, I actually had to tear it down because we were moving. I have an old MAME arcade cabinet that I made with tons of retro games, from everything from like Atari 2600 all the way up to the PSX.
Nice.
And so I put a ton of time, especially Medieval is one of my favorites. It's retro, but it's an old school. Yeah. It's on the comedy horror side of things.
Yep. Oh yeah. Now, when it comes to fighting games, would it be safe to say you choose Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter?
Funny enough, in regards to fighting games, I'm actually a Tekken guy. But yeah, no, I would choose Mortal Kombat.
See, I prefer like Mortal Kombat story and gameplay wise, but Street Fighter's roster of hotties is way stronger.
Oh yeah. Especially if I'm going for, let's say, a NetherRealms game with hot characters, I'd have to go with one of the Injustice ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Street Fighter does hotter characters much better. But hey, that's always Dead or Alive.
True. Now, it is safe to say that you also love a hot alternative person.
Yes, I am. I am a huge fan of hot alternative styles.
Well, so you like horror tropes. You like old games, some with some fighting styles, and you love goth baddies. Well, Dylan, you're in luck this week, because I'm giving you all of that.
I am absolutely terrified of what could potentially have all of those elements rolled into one.
Dylan, this week we are diving into tumultuous territory, anime based on video games.
Oh no,
this
fuck.
Is not a genre that has been well received over the years. However, I do think that today's anime is an exception to that rule.
Okay, I'm going to trust your judgment on this. I'm going to open my mind. Let's
Does the name Morrigan ring a bell?
I knew you were leading into fucking Darkstalkers. Okay.
I just sent you a picture.
Yep. Oh wait, hold on. I have a question.
Uh-huh.
For this anime based on this particular video game, is this animated property going to be Western or Eastern?
Oh, Dylan.
Fuck.
Last week, when we had Sean on, he ended up watching something terrible because he wanted to stick for the bit. Now, what's a better bit? Making you watch the terrible, ugly American version, or instead leaving it to Sean to be the only guest to have to watch something shitty?
Both of those leave so much room. I do love to torment Sean. I love the man with all my heart. He's been a great friend of mine for nearly a decade now. I don't think I can leave him out in the cold if I'm given the choice. Especially, I have heard some terrible things and been shown some terrible stills from the American Darkstalkers.
Yeah, you're not watching the American Darkstalkers.
Okay. Suck it, bitch!
I like you're like, I can't leave him out in the cold. Suck it.
I mean, hey, if it's not in my jurisdiction, I can't be blamed. That's
No,
entirely on you.
we will be watching, like the picture I sent you, that's our teal-haired succubus rocking a sick vampy outfit, total mega babe. She is just one of the many characters you'll be meeting this week when we watch 1997's Vampire Hunter, aka Night Warriors, Darkstalkers Revenge.
Hell yes, I am excited to see how this actually compares to what I've heard of the American version, because I actually haven't heard much.
I'm the one who actually sent you the images comparison when you guys were playing.
You were! Yes! And I actually had, recently enough, actually, we were playing Blood on the Clock Tower, and I had Darkstalkers pulled up on the arcade cabinet just playing a little demo match.
Nice.
And someone commented on that. A buddy of mine who I think actually listens to the show, and he was like, hey, are you familiar with the other version of that? And I was like, yes, in fact.
Well, for the folks at home and for you, this video game adaptation of the same name puts us on an alternate Earth where creatures from the demon realm, aka Darkstalkers, live among humans, some with the intent to murder and take over, and others just trying to live their lives the best they can. But the battle is not just between humans and demons. The demons are also fighting over control of the demon world. But then, to make things even more insane, because you can't just have that be the plot, there's an ancient race of Aztec robots that try to cleanse the Earth every time they get too bitchy with each other.
Wait, what? What the fuck do the Aztecs have to do with this vampire infight? What demon infighting? What the fuck?
Every time the world gets to be too not peaceful, they wipe it.
Oh shit, time's running out. Uh-oh.
But no, not only that. To top it all off, there's also a demonic space entity that arrives that has chosen Earth as its next conquest, meaning that the residents of Earth, those of both dark and light, might have to come together, maybe, to put an end to this.
So there's effectively, based on what you've told me, there's 5 different factions going on here. You've got the humans, you've got the demon side, then you've got some infighting on the demon side, so that adds another
good
faction.
Darkstalkers, bad Darkstalkers.
Good and bad Darkstalkers. Then you got the Aztec robots, and then you have an alien demon force.
Just one guy.
It's just one guy. Oh, it's just one guy. How about anybody? It's just one guy.
He's basically a god, but it's just one guy.
Oh, goodness.
This is a lot of plot for a 4-episode OVA.
This is only 4 episodes?
Now, admittedly, they are like 36 minutes each, so you get a bit more time. But while some parts can be a bit rushed, I actually think they handle it pretty damn well.
Okay, so this isn't going to be...
focus a little bit.
This is going to be like a recently discussed Demon Lord Dante with Remington, and there were some elements that they just really threw at you despite it being all 12 episodes for that run.
Hopefully not. Now, if it makes it feel even better, what I do love and want you to look out for in this is that when they are fighting, the animators actually animated their moves from the fighting games, even the cheesy ones. So when Morrigan does her drill kick, they animate like it looks like her legs are doing a bit of a drill thing. It's not just like her kicking a bunch. They do it like it's from the video game.
Okay, that's a labor
cool.
of love right there.
There's
Hell
even like some idle animations when they're waiting for something to happen. Like it's really good for that. And it's Studio Madhouse.
They've been around that long?
Madhouse has been around a long time.
Damn. Okay, so if it's Madhouse, the animation is going to be gorgeous.
For what it is, it's really good. I'm a big fan of it. I think it looks phenomenal. But they've been around since 73.
Holy, I had no idea. Hot damn.
Yeah, they did like Ursa Yatsura stuff back in the day. They'd done a crap ton of stuff. But yeah, I think you're going to have a good time. You're going to get goth hotties. You're going to get succubus vampires. There's like werewolf boys. There's demon guitar men. There's so much good stuff. And now, maybe I'm wrong and you're going to hate it, but I can guarantee you it will not be boring and trash like what Sean had to watch last week.
Oh, I'm genuinely excited. I had it on the back of my mind. Just, anytime I turned on my arcade cap, because that was the most recent game I had playing in demo mode, I was like, I should probably watch that series. I should probably, give it a watch. So I'm excited.
Good. For the time it's from, and for the fact that it's based on a video game, it's pretty cool. So I think you're having a good time. So we're going to go watch 4 episodes of Night Warriors Darkstalkers Revenge, and we will be right back. Oh, oh, oh. And we're back from watching all 4 episodes of Darkstalkers, and I have to ask, Dylan, did this series more gain your respect, or should it have stayed in its coffin?
You know, I'm gonna say, fuck, I nailed that pun. I'm gonna say, in the end, it more gained my respect, despite near the end, I felt it actually kind of tripped on its way out of the coffin.
Oh, there is so much good about this, but the last 10, 15 minutes is where, the whole thing just kind of falls apart.
Yeah. But I think, so this show is not necessarily about the story. It really is more about the characters.
Oh, yeah. The first thing I want to talk about is the animation.
Oh, God, the animation. It was so, like, despite it being relatively low frame rate animation, for the day, it was probably on par. It was beautiful animation. There was so much love put into every single, second of the combat. Not so much the conversations. Those were more standard lip flaps. But,
yeah, of course.
Oh, the combat. Oh.
Look, you know it's going to be good when the key members of the animation team worked on Clamp Anime, Akira, and something you know a lot of, Go Nagai.
Really? Some of the animators have worked on a lot of Go Nagai stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
The main guy, Hiroyuki Imaishi, huge resume. One of his most recent things was Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Holy shit!
So there's a reason why there's so much love put into this, is because the people who are behind it are so good. Because I sent you some cells to be like, here's what it normally looks like in like HD.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The cells were gorgeous.
And like the background art is phenomenal. You just got to kind of look back to get away from that 480p.
Yeah. I mean, even then, the 480p, especially the version I watched, the non-hyper compressed one, was still gorgeous.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it definitely, sometimes people put things on YouTube where it's like 4K upscale, and it's like just a really shitty AI upscale, and it's all blended and gross.
No, ew. Do not use that upscaling bullshit. You get the cleanest version of it you can, and then just roll with it. Don't do that kind of stuff in post.
No. Now, this IP has a dark past when it comes to animation quality. We touched on this a little in part 1, but 2 years before this came out, this was not after. This was before America decided to try their hands at the adaptation of the game.
Oh, I thought the American one came out after. Oh, so this was before. Oh, Jiminy Cricket.
Yep.
Oh.
They tried to take the Capcom game and make it their own. I sent you some screenshots.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the folks at home about this?
So the first one you sent was Morrigan. Morrigan, they've decided, instead of her kind of tealish aqua colored hair, they gave her Nickelodeon slime green hair, and a very Harlequin-esque dress, similar to the one in the games and in the Japanese version, but her face. Oh, her face. This is one of the worst character faces I had ever seen for a character that is supposed to be a succubus. They made her look like, what's the way to describe this? One of Cinderella's ugly stepsisters.
Mixed with Steve Buscemi. She has Buscemi eyes.
She does have Buscemi eyes. Oh, and I just scrolled to the second picture, which is Dimitri.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is Dimitri, right?
Yeah, that's supposed to be Dimitri. It looks like Johnny Bravo went to tan for a little long and then decided to join the dark side.
Johnny Bravo decided to dye his hair red and went Super Saiyan.
Basically, yeah. And then, of course, there's the Felicia artwork.
Okay, so they did try to as far as I can tell, they tried to de-sex Felicia for the American version.
They de-sexed everything.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know if there's, I'm sure, limited things they could have gotten away with for American broadcast, but Felicia, her standard outfit would not fly on American TV. Especially for an American cartoon in the 90s, it would have been marketed mainly towards children. You can't get away with that, unfortunately.
But they got away with it by making her the ugliest fucking thing.
Oh, God. Her face. So I don't know if this is how her face always is, or when you pause animation, sometimes you get something between frames and it can look really weird. But her eye is just the most standout thing. Her eye is shaped like an eggplant.
Mm-hmm.
And she is making the most horrific grimace I can imagine.
Yeah. This is almost all of this entire series. Every single character is butchered and just made to be the ugliest possible versions of themselves. The reception of this okay, first off, Americans love ruining Japanese IPs. They almost did it with Sailor Moon. We have a pre-banter about that on our Patreon where they did an American version that was half cartoon, half live action. It's terrible.
I saw your vid on that, and oh boy, that was something.
Yeah. And then they love doing this. They get their hands on these IPs and either they don't release them so that other networks can't get them and release them, or they bastardize them to make them kid friendly, or they end up fucking it up super bad that gets canceled. Good example, Escaflowne. That show is 26 episodes. It lasted 10 before they canceled it in America because they changed all of the animation, like good shit. They cut it all out. Violence, any sexual stuff. They like edited words and phrases. And then they took all the music of this fantasy anime and made it techno and ruined the whole vibe, and it did not last.
Oh dear. Well, I mean, how? Who thought that was a good idea? What studio head decided, oh, we need to Americanize this, let's give it techno?
Yeah, exactly. But then with this show, America took it and they were like, all right, we're going to change the plot. Morrigan is now super evil. We're going to introduce a teenage boy named Harry Grimoire.
I'll show you a Harry Grimoire.
Yeah, right? Named a descendant of Merlin for some reason. Uh-huh. And then they like made all of these random ass changes to the story. They fucked the whole thing up. They gave it 12 episodes and it was only in syndication for 4 months. It did not survive its episode. It was never recast. It was never like nothing. It was so poorly received that they didn't like do some, let them out, and then finish up the others. Oh, no, we did it all. It'll be great. Everyone hated it.
I think I can understand why, because that is some very creative measures they decided to take with, honestly, if what they should have done. Well, and then again, this came out after, but this is actually, to my understanding, not too different from individual story beats from the games, even though they're strung together a bit differently.
Yeah, so this version does match up more or less with the game.
And the games kind of have a story, though fighting games, story is always like the last thing on anyone's mind. If you're going to adapt the property, though, it's there. You can build on it.
No, this is America, baby. We don't do that.
No, in good old US of A, we gotta give people spray tans and give them the ugliest faces you could imagine.
Yeah.
Like, I can draw better faces than that. And
yeah.
Oh.
I have had food poisoning that looked better than American Darkstalkers.
Oh. In fact, actually, looking at Felicia, some of those stills look like things I found in the letterbox.
Exactly, which makes sense because she's a cat. But no, this, moving back to the original series, because I can't talk about the American one anymore without wanting to gouge my eyes out. Music.
Oh, God, the music. Oh, the bass lines. Oh, fuck yes.
The music is so damn good in this.
Oh, God, I love the music. Especially, I had a note, not only during the Lord Raptor's scene, because he's a musician, of course. He was fucking playing like some Van Halen-ass riffs and everything. But Morrigan's first fight versus a bunch of nameless goons. There was just such a sick slapping bass line going through that entire thing. Oh,
hell yeah.
Whoever did the music for this deserved a raise.
Yeah, there's not much of an intro song. They mostly talk over it and give some lore. But the ending song's pretty decent.
But the combat music. Oh.
The combat music is so good.
I'm wondering if is that music from the game?
I don't know. Maybe. It's a good question. I imagine it must be, because that would make sense, right?
It would. But I can't think of a fighting game having such a slapping bass track going on.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. You had mentioned that this one is full of characters.
Yes.
And boy, is it ever.
Oh, absolutely. So it's hard to tell exactly. Should we go in order of how they were introduced to us or in order of importance?
However you want to go.
I actually wrote my notes. My notes are based on how they were introduced. So let's start with that.
Let's do it.
Very first character we are introduced to. Not even by seeing him. We just kind of hear he just bursts from his coffin and we hear his voice before actually seeing him. But when we are introduced to this man, he is a vampire, a lord of his own realm on Earth.
Lord
However,
of the gym.
I do not think he drinks blood. I believe that our man, Dmitry Maximov, drinks HGH.
Oh, yeah. He's thick.
He is massive, and he has yowie hands, if I've ever seen them.
Oh, yeah. They're insane.
It's like, I don't know how to draw a buff, like, hands on a buff guy. I don't know, fuck it. I'll just scale everything up on the hands.
Like,
and, oh, man.
Thick. And he's not a hot vampire.
No, he is not in the slightest. He is not a hot vampire at all.
When I showed Lindsay what we were watching, because I was like, hey, we are going to do Darkstalkers. I was like, don't feel too bad. I feel like Dylan will appreciate it more than you. And also, the main vampire is not hot, so you wouldn't be happy. But anyways. And she was like, thank you. That's good to know.
Yeah, poor Dmitry. Like, some of the game art of him is much better, in my opinion. But that's the newer game art. Like,
yeah,
around 2012, I think, is where I saw one that was much more reasonable. But in the older Vampire Hunter, he looked like that.
Yeah, he is all fists.
he is all fists, and when he goes into his more full vampiric form, he is still incredibly shredded, despite mainly being shadow.
Yeah, it's like, we don't have time, because it's a fighting game, right? We don't have time for skinny vampires. Everyone has to be able to, like, beat the shit out of each other.
Exactly. And, our boy Dmitry, he apparently was exiled from the demon world 100 years ago and seeks to reclaim his rightful place of power. And apparently, I think, I may have misunderstood this, but was it his rule on Earth that caused the sun to disappear?
Yeah, he got rid of the sun.
He just got rid of the fucking sun because he didn't like it.
Well, I mean, he's a vampire.
I mean, fair.
It is shown later in the show it doesn't affect him, but he's a Darkstalker. He likes the dark.
He prefers the dark. However, he also, I think if he didn't get rid of the sun, the people would have been fine to have him around.
Well, he also, like, in the town he is also, like, kind of a ruler.
Yeah. He's
in the first episode, we do literally see him burn a whole bunch of humans alive because he's sick of dealing with them in his castle.
And, speaking of which, for each of these characters, I was thinking of fighting game characters, and one of the most iconic things about them is the quotes. That's why there's so many compilations of, like, all Injustice or Mortal Kombat intro scenes and how characters interact. So I grabbed a quote for each character, and you mentioned him, burning a bunch of townsfolk alive. That is where my favorite quote of his came in. "The sounds of your suffering are the greatest gift you can bestow upon me." It was just the most ridiculous fucking line read that he had. He also didn't have nearly as many lines as I would have expected from being the main vampire.
The main characters that you thought were going to be the main characters did not end up being the main characters.
I actually wanted to bring up the voice actors for a lot of these characters. These are some legendary figures a lot of the time.
And they're Canadian.
They are indeed. I'm assuming Paul Dobson, the voice of Dmitry, is Canadian because he was in so many anime adaptations, specifically the Ocean Group DBZ dub, and also the American one.
He is Canadian. Almost every single actor on this show will be Canadian because Canada has a massive, and a lot of people don't realize this, but Canada has such a massive history of dubbing in anime that most of the stuff you watched in the 90s probably came from a Canadian voice.
Man, I guess I have even more reasons to go up to Canada now. Damn. Also, he voiced not only Dmitry, but Dmitry's servant?
He voices a couple people, yeah.
But him voicing both, the main vampire and his servant felt a little incestuous to me.
I mean,
Next up, in regards to the characters that we were introduced to, we have Morrigan. And Mackenzie, how do you pronounce Morrigan's last name?
So everyone in this fucking show pronounces it differently. Some people end it with a T, some people end it with a D, some people end it with fucking random shit. It's Ainsland is what this fucking thing is, but everyone says Ainslant, Ainslund. Like, everyone says it fucking differently in this damn show, and it pisses me off.
The very first time we hear someone say her name is some random nameless mook, and he introduced her as Morrigan A-Slut. And I had to
Yep.
fucking pause the video and I had to look it up to make sure I wasn't losing my goddamn mind. No, that is actually how he called her a slut.
Yep, because no one knows how to pronounce this name, apparently. I like how we just said so many epic actors, and it is true. These are epic actors behind these people, but sometimes you just don't get a name right in the booth and no one notices.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's more down to the voice director. I actually wasn't able to find a credit for the voice director of this, but I'm sure they've done plenty of other things and improved as well. But speaking of the voices, Morrigan, you know, our lovely succubus, is voiced by Kathleen Barr, and she's done tons of things. However, most notably, we have Mrs. Claus in Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, and Dot Matrix in Reboot.
Hell yeah, she's Dot Matrix from Reboot.
However, I have, I hate to say this, I think I have someone who I would prefer to have voiced Morrigan.
Oh, interesting. Who's that?
Love of my life, Grey Delisle.
Okay.
Because I feel, especially her ability to go between like silky smooth and just throw some venom at the same time. Grey in her 90s peak would have been perfect.
Well, she's not Canadian, so she wasn't there. Also, the voice director was Carl Willems.
Carl Willems. What else has Carl done?
Lots of stuff. Dragon Ball Z, Death Note, Cyber 6 Card Captors, Beyblade.
So is this one of his
Gintama,
earlier
Hamtaro,
credits?
Inuyasha, Ranma. He does like everything. This is not his earliest, because I think his earliest would have been around like 78.
Hot damn. Way to go, Carl. He's been in the game for a long time. But hey, you know what? For a 4-episode OVA that I don't even know where it would have been broadcast at the time, he put in as much effort as he was getting paid.
Yeah.
No shade on Carl. Except for one particular bit later that I will throw some shade on him.
I love Morgan. She is
Morgan.
such a fucking hottie.
Oh, especially her casual outfit. Her casual outfit wins for me. Oh,
it's like that opened button white shirt with the cleavage and just
that nice little thing tying together in the middle, and also no bangs, or at least her more grown out and swept to the side. The shorter bangs,
the vampire bangs.
Nah, the bangs have been kind of ruined for me lately.
Fair. I do. Here's the thing. I love her casual outfit so much. I have notes on that even because I was like, hell yeah, they made even that one look hot. But I do love the bodysuit with the bats on the legs.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that the way she transforms into her more combat outfit, just with the swarm of bats and everything, is fantastic.
They'll turn to glitter and go on her.
Yeah.
Oh man, but no, Morgan, I love Morgan. Unfortunately, we don't get a lot of her either.
No, she was a key character in, I would say, 3 or 4 scenes.
Yeah, she gets a couple battles, a couple like talking scenes, but that's really it, which is unfortunate because I love the way they animate her in battle. Because like I had mentioned, they do like the video game move, like her legs turn into the drill, or like it's just, she's so good, and we do not get enough of her. I could have, when we bring up that character, I'll get to it. But I needed so much more of her. I love her voice. I would have loved if it was a series with 4 episodes of just her.
There you go. If it was more tightly focused, especially on her, or if it was more tightly focused on really any of the characters, I felt would have been strong.
All right, fuck it. I'll say it right now. We didn't need the Pyron or the Aztec shit.
We did not need Huitzel. We did not need Pyron. We did not need any of that. But we'll get to those characters.
Yeah, we'll get to those. It was irking me. I had to say it.
Next up, character-wise, the next character we are introduced to is I had them flipped a little. Is Felicia.
Oh, I love Felicia so damn much. She's
Felicia
so adorable.
Is adorable. Also, she's kind of just a mostly naked cat.
Yeah, she's literally just has fur covering her parts.
Only barely too. But yeah, no, someone thought the DC character Catwoman wasn't literal enough.
No, this is literally, it's not an outfit, folks. This is she's a cat girl.
She's a traveling performer, and
I love her so much.
She has her own little circus and brings joy to those around her. She is in a total of 4 scenes.
Yes.
Unfortunately. She was done dirty.
She was done really dirty in the end, but she does have a good bit of an arc.
She's like the one with the most complete arc. I feel it was her and one other character. But she is voiced by Janice Jowd, who was Dorothy the dinosaur in the Wiggles Dance Party.
Uh-huh. That's your main takeaway from
Yes.
that?
from her storied career, yes. Because I thought that was funny. Oh, going back to Morgan, actually, the quote I have for her is her first quote before a fight with Dimitri. I've seen many men come and go. Will you be weak and pathetic like the others?
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's such a good line.
Hell yeah.
And Felicia, unfortunately, she wasn't given much in the way of quotes.
No, they focus more on her with her animations, with her fighting stuff. So like she gets that like back
she
and forth,
had
like
the nice
idle
bounce
animation
going on.
and like the spinning thing and the random clawing, which looks stupid technically from an animation standpoint. But when you realize it's copying the video game move, you're like, okay.
Yeah, when you see her do a sonic spin ball, you're like, oh hell yeah, I can get behind that. And my quote for Felicia is, thanks for the offer, but I'm not much for organized religion.
Oh, that's also my note that I got down. When fucking rock demon dude is like, I've got some souls, do you want them?
Yep. Speaking of which, that is our boy Lord Raptor.
AKA Zabel Zarok.
Zabel Zarok. Oh, he is a zombie rocker who feeds on the souls of those who attend his shows. He's only actually in one scene. I wish there was so much more of him, though.
I figured he would be one of your favorites.
I mean, look at him.
He is a cocky British rocker who like has
British.
Well, yeah. who has like a fucking stomach mouth thing, and
he has a stomach mouth thing, and this little kind of tiny demon guy that follows him around and plays all the other instruments for him.
Frog guy.
Yeah. And he is voiced by Scott McNeil. And oh boy, he has over 400 credits to his name. I can't even begin to list them, but I do have two standout ones.
Okay.
He was Piccolo and a bunch of other voices in the Ocean Group DBZ dub. And also, he was a large number of characters in an animated series of films about the childhood of legendary racist Howard Phillips Lovecraft.
Oh.
There's a large number of films. I think there's 3 or 4 right now. There might be even more about a young H.P. Lovecraft going into like these weird nightmare realms where he interacts with the creatures that inspire his stories in the future, as opposed to what really inspired his stories, which was xenophobia and hate.
Yep, that is so fucking true. Yeah, for the anime folks, he's so many things in Dragon Ball. He's Jace, he's Deborah, he's Tao Pai Pai, he's original King Piccolo. He's oh my gosh, he's in everything. He's in so much Inuyasha. He's even in Hamtaro, Full Metal Alchemist. He's in literally, like you said, hundreds of credits. Another non-anime thing he's in that I love is Beast Wars.
Really? He's in Transformers Beast Wars?
He is. You didn't know that?
I saw that when I was a child and haven't touched it since. I was unfortunately never much of a Transformers guy. Never really got into it.
Okay, so in Beast Wars, he played Dinobot, he played Rat Trap, he did Silverbolt, Tarantulas, Waspinator. This guy, when we talk about people with resumes, his anime, his regular, his everything, he is one of the top Canadian voice actors when it comes to that kind of thing.
And honestly, he comes across as an unsung hero of voice acting to me. That is a man who is his career. He goes in, he puts down tons of voices each day. Some of them, however, don't exactly, have the best direction or notes given to them. This is something because he has the worst Cockney accent. He sounds like you took the Cockney boss from Saints Row, but you kind of slurred his speech a little bit.
Maybe a bit more zombie-ish.
Yeah, but my quote for him, he has only one scene, but he does have quite a few lines in that scene. I put out for them with my music. They put out for me with a bit of their souls. A fair and equitable business arrangement, if you ask me.
Honestly, that kind of is how it works anyways these days with being a rock star.
Yeah, honestly, I've been to enough shows. If I have a soul left, there's not much.
You get to the door and they look at you and like, nah, you're paying full price, bro. You got nothing left.
Nah, no.
Yeah, he would have been nice to have more of him because him and like Felicia kind of team up.
Yeah, they team up for one fight scene. This is actually the first major fight scene in this show, is at one of Lord Raptor's concerts where, he takes the stage, he shreds for a little bit, he says, "Are you ready to rock?" And then the building lights go on. And you see it's actually a bunch of human cultists who are hunting Darkstalkers. And they just, assault him with, guns and flamethrowers. And Felicia, I don't know how the fuck she got there. She stumbles down a bunch of stairs.
Yeah, so she's a cat, so her senses are very strong.
Yeah.
And there's some crazy shit going on in the city that's messing up her senses, making her feel sick. And she stumbles into this building, falls down the stairs. And then that's where she originally meets the guy.
Mm.
And he is nice to her. So she just kind of hangs around backstage for a bit when all the shit goes down. And then she kind of joins the fight to help him out.
Yeah. So I was wondering, what caused her necessarily to fall downstairs. I guess it was because it did show in the scene previous that she was, losing her coordination a little bit. So that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
But also, I have a question about the concert.
Uh-huh.
What the fuck happened to the rest of the people? Because you see, as Lord Raptor pulls up to the show, in front of the doors, there are tons of actual fans waiting to get in. But when inside there, it's just cultists. It's just maggots.
Well, originally, so there's a 2-second scene that shows them at the back first.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time the lights come on, they're at the front. So I think they just pushed their way through and everyone was like, "Oh, fuck guns and flamethrowers, I'm the fuck out of here."
Okay, yeah.
I love, because he's in his human quote unquote form at the start of this, but his transformation when he strums his guitar and his flesh melts away.
Oh, that was so damn cool.
You're just
that is what initially I watched that. I was like, this is it. This is going to be fucking awesome if they keep doing things like this. If they did a lot, but I think they showcased his entire move set during that one fight scene.
Yeah, he has teeth that come out of the belly and grab people.
The tornado spin, where he sucks people in with the teeth. Yeah, that was such a cool fight.
It's unfortunate that he was a very quick one and done, I'm out of here character.
I wish they did more with him, but they did more with him than they did for quite a few other characters that I think we'll just mention barely as a name later. Next up in the world of characters, we have Anita.
Fucking Anita.
Anita is introduced she's brought along as part of this, wandering group of refugees from towns that have been destroyed by Darkstalkers. Anita is a quiet, PTSD-ridden girl with mysterious powers that apparently just Darkstalkers just fucking want this girl.
Yeah, she's literally the most powerful thing in the game. She's an unlockable character, and she's so busted in the game that she's banned in competitive play.
I mean, fair. We don't really see much in the realm of her powers in, the 4 episodes. We see she has some minor telekinesis, like she can stop bullets in midair, she can create little force fields and pick up her doll, but also she can bring people back from the dead.
Yep, that's a pretty big power.
That's a pretty big one, which the fuck. And our lovely Anita is voiced by Andrea Libman, who, in my notes, she's primarily in My Little Pony and Strawberry Shortcake media, but she also voiced Chi-Chi in the Canadian BLT dub of the original Dragon Ball.
Yipperdoodles.
And my quote for her, this is another, unfortunately, an issue I have with the voice direction. It's atonal screaming.
Yeah, they took her being monotone and then applied it to everything about her.
So there's atonal screaming at episode 3 at 39 minutes and around 30 seconds. If anyone listening wants to go there, it is horrific and also hilarious.
Yeah, it's she doesn't say much. I think she has 10 lines and 5 of them are her yelling.
Mainly screaming, mainly crying, a lot of moping about that humans are weak and people are just going to die because she has PTSD. Everyone around her has died because she's the only person, until she meets our lovely boy Donovan, she's the only person that has any variety of way of protecting herself.
Yeah, but man, I'm assuming your next character you're talking about is Donovan.
Yep, our lovely Donovan Bane. He's a wandering demon hunter. Not the Christian metal band, though. He probably does listen to them, who ends up becoming Anita's protector because Anita, just her existence, also humans don't like her. Every fucking normal human that encounters her tries to kill her.
Literally the first time you meet her, she's being held at this church because they're helping her out. And these little kids steal a gun from the traveling circus
and try and shoot her.
And yeah, they throw her doll and try to end up almost shooting her. And it's God damn. I know they say this is supposed to be set in like a European spot, but there is so many things in this show that are so
It's so heavily gun-centric for the humans, and they're so fear-mongering, it does feel incredibly American. And also, immediately after that, a lynch mob attempts to burn down the church and kill her.
Yep.
Which is where our lovely man Donovan shows up. And he is in the majority of the scenes. In regards to characters, he has the most scenes. He's also a stand user.
Yes, he does like to.
He has multiple stands. He poses, and then a giant spirit will appear behind him and fuck some shit up.
With his big ass fucking blade.
And our lovely boy Donovan is voiced by Ari Solomon, who has not done much. However, he has one acting feature of note that I wrote down. In a TV movie about Prince Harry and Meghan, his role was as famous nonce Prince Andrew.
I mean...
And I'm assuming Donovan as a character is Catholic because he has so much guilt about his inner self.
He is so much guilt. We know what's actually funny about Catholicism in this show? Later on in the lore, Felicia actually becomes a Catholic nun.
Funny that she said she's not one for organized religion.
You know what? Sometimes you just get brainwashed.
I mean, Felicia, I'm sure she's seen some shit. She can find her comfort wherever she wants. No judgment on that. My quote for our boy Donovan is, "I say to you now, I will rid this world of the dark." Which, that's a kind of metal line. That's one of his earlier ones, too.
Yeah, he's got some good ones. But yeah, that's... Because he's got it. It's funny. Yeah, this actor's only anime credit is this one, which is crazy because he does a good job as Donovan.
He does. And I feel with a bit more experience, he would have actually become a pretty common staple of, to borrow a quote from my dear friend Remington Chase, bland bitch protagonists. Yeah. He's the more masculine side of the coin as opposed to the more nasally, whiny bitch boy. But
I can think of so many anime where he would be that, like the character. I know exactly who he'd be in Bleach. I know exactly who he'd be in so many of these things. Because we'll talk, I'm assuming there's more to talk about with him later on.
Oh, yeah.
But to finish out on episode 1 here, there's a couple moments I really like before we get into the characters that get introduced in episode 2, is we do get Dimitri battling robots.
We do. We are introduced to the Huitzel.
Yes.
When they just kind of show up, they decide that, we detect something powerful above. Time to genocide.
That's their whole point, is if humanity gets too evil or too powerful, they're like, no, y'all aren't being peaceful anymore. I'm going to cleanse you. That's not cool, bro.
Yeah. I wish there was... What the fuck is the point? Where did they come from?
They're ancient robots that sit under the ocean primarily and hide in Aztec temples.
And at one point form a Megazord.
Yeah, they do get large at one point, but I do love before he fights them, him and Morrigan are fighting, and this is a quote that I love of Morrigan's, because she's like, are you ready to fucking fight, you little bastard? And he's like, oh, I am. And she literally she calls out Dimitri, saying that him willing to battle her is clearly the truest form of chivalry. And then he just keeps talking while they're battling, and she basically tells him to shut the fuck up and stop talking so much. And I'm like, she's the goth dami mommy we all need.
I mean, yeah, that if you get a character that is a succubus, they need to have that kind of dominant streak in them. Otherwise, I mean, what's the point?
Yeah, but this battle's where we see even more of her like drill legs, and she calls out her super moves.
That was so fucking funny to me, because none of the other characters aside from her call out their attacks. And I think this is the only fight she does it in.
No, she does in multiples.
Oh, she does? Okay.
It's great. They even animate, like when she like blasts away, they animate like the fire coming out of her butt like she's zooming away in a video game.
Yes, they do. Like she has a fucking jetpack on. It was so good.
Again, so many anime to video, or so many video game to anime adaptations are absolute shit because they either try too hard or try too little. This one's just right in that perfect little spot where it's like, hey, it's a video game thing, but it doesn't take away from it.
Exactly. That way of showing quick acceleration translated perfectly. I did actually really like that.
Hell yeah.
And that actually really is episode 1. We have initially we have Felicia and Raptor getting into a fight with a bunch of human cultists. And then we have Anita and Donovan, who are being attacked by a bunch of scared humans. And then we have Morrigan and Dimitri having a fight in the Weasel show up. That's really all that it is, the introduction of these characters.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, as an introduction for the characters, this episode 1 was about as tight as I could expect. I wanted this, after watching that, to expand into a full 12 episode season where each character then got, a couple episodes.
Yeah, the fact that this only got 4 episodes is so sad, because there's so many more characters that deserve so much that get a lot, don't get me wrong, but they would have been even better. Like, we get into episode 2 and we get to meet what is probably my favorite characters. And I'm not talking about the spider guys at the beginning. Well, they are neat.
They are neat. And they're why I'm glad you didn't show this to Sean. He
does not like spiders.
He does not like spiders. And the spiders that they introduced, I was like, oh man, if I showed that to Sean, he'd get a little squicked out. Then again,
they're big.
They're big, but they're not there for long. They show up, are kind of menacing and evil little spider guys, and then are immediately murked.
Oh, by Lele, my queen.
Oh, yes. You mean Mei Ling?
No. Mei Ling is the human version.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought that was the Americanized name as opposed to the Japanese one.
Mei Ling is the like the human version.
Yeah.
And then Shenko, which is also Lele.
Oh, okay.
That's her name is Lele. Is the Chinese hopping vampire is what she's based on.
Yes, I absolutely adore my Zhongxi. The little jumping vampires that stick their arms out.
I love her so much.
Yes.
She's a babe. She's got crazy fun powers. She's so cocky.
She's one of only, a handful of characters in the show that have any amount of whimsy in them.
Oh, yeah. She's just like, to the point where the whole point of her sister is that her sister can turn into a talisman that goes on her face to make her, A, want to kill people less, and also B, it does give her sister's powers as well.
Yeah, it kind of elevates her powers, but also helps temper her overall attitude. Yeah. And their introduction is just, the first scene in episode 2. But also, that first scene is entirely pointless.
Oh, you could have skipped it entirely and just gone to the next scene with them.
Because the very next scene with them
is so good.
They're trying to go to towns that are being besieged by Darkstalkers. And for a fee, they'll pull a John Constantine. They'll say, all right, this is a problem. We'll deal with it. Sure. Just give us money. Make sure we're paid. Which, hey, more power to you. But our boy Donovan's already been there at this town that they go to. So instead, Donovan just fucking killed all of the Darkstalkers in the town. Everyone's happy. The only people left in the town, though, were a bunch of very drunk men.
I was so nervous when this started because you had one specific request of me, and it was nothing with like sexual violence. And when these dudes started like being like, no, you're coming inside with us. We got things we're going to do to you. I was like, oh no, do I have to not show them this show? Nah, baby.
Not an issue, because then all of a sudden Shenko just fucking beats the hell out of all of them.
Okay, her intro, because like her sister's like, the fuck out of here. And she's like, all right, it's up to you. She like bursts out of this coffin and it closes up on her face and she looks so beautiful. She just looks at all these men and goes, ni hao, boys.
That was so fucking funny. Oh, and then her sister turns into the talisman. It slaps her in the face and she has to move it out of the way.
Fine, I won't kill them. I'll just fuck them up. And I don't know what your quote is. My favorite quote is when all of them are attacking her at once and she goes, what, do you guys want a group rate?
I was thinking about it. The quote I actually gave Shenko was, geez, kids are brats. Remind me not to have any. Yep,
that's a good one too.
But her sister is actually, since she doesn't have any quotes really, she was not given much of a character because in the games, she's not actually
she's not a playable character.
But she was voiced by Jane Perry, who hadn't really been in much until 2011, until the world decided it needed some stone cold MILFs. So Jane Perry has voiced Rogue in Cyberpunk 2077 and Diana Burnwood from the newer Hitman trilogy.
Hell yeah.
And Shenko was voiced by Nicole Oliver, who has been like a dozen things in Ranma and in literally every single My Little Pony thing in the last 20 years. She was Princess Celestia.
Like I said, it's insane some of the resumes that these Canadian actors have.
Oh, yeah. There is just some very impressive vocal talent on display here. That's why I wish this was longer, because if we have more people showcasing their talent, give these voice actors the money they deserve and the clout, because they're not being recognized for these really good roles that they're doing.
Yeah. Oh man, these guys are being so fucking pervy, and she doesn't give them like an inch. And she should have given them 6 feet underground, but
Oh yeah.
she doesn't kill them, but she fucks them up so good. And she's my favorite. I think it goes her, Morrigan, and then Felicia.
For me, I think I'm going to have to go with Shenko and then Lord Raptor and then Morrigan. But
I mean, Lord Raptor's definitely coming up close. He's probably kind of toeing the line with Felicia because he's just so fucking funny.
Oh, yeah.
But like, here's the thing I really love about this is that it feels almost like a D&D campaign at times because it's just random side questing that people are just kind of getting up to.
Yeah.
Because
the next scene, actually, that reminded me, because we have Donovan, who is just hunting some random Darkstalker who happens to be Bishamon, the demonic suit of armor.
Yep.
Now, I couldn't understand a fucking word he said because of the vocal fry.
Yeah.
That was
I turned on subtitles for that part.
I was gonna give him a quote, but I couldn't figure out what the hell he was saying, aside from he was freaking out because he didn't understand why Donovan was being so nice to some randos.
The fact that the armor loses power and is defeated temporarily because it doesn't understand humanity's need for treating people good is so, again, D&D-ish.
Yeah.
Like, just that dumb little thing. Oh, you go and you find this animated armor. And you yell at it a whole bunch, and then it's like, oh, I'm sad, and falls apart.
And then, a spirit, just emerges from the armor. I actually didn't catch the spirit's name.
I couldn't fucking tell you.
Okay.
All I know about that spirit is that he's like, you have freed me, but now I need to go back in the armor so that I can destroy it from the inside out now that you've given me purpose in life again. What?
Yeah, that was really just, he showed up and was being nice. However, Bishamon did stab the fuck out of Donovan.
Yeah, he took a lot of wounds.
He took 2 big, swords going straight through his chest. And Donovan isn't invincible. He may be half Darkstalker, but he is still just a guy. So he is sitting there bleeding out for who knows how fucking long.
Yeah, before he gets picked up by the sisters.
Yeah, until the sisters show up and decide to, rescue his ass.
Now, real quick, you said that the Mei-Ling didn't have a good quote. That's wrong. I forgot about this. She has a quote, and it's so good. As she's walking past her sister after she beats these dudes up, she looks at Lele and she goes, oh, thanks to you, this land is safe for maidens again.
And what does that make me?
Yeah. And Mei goes, yeah, what does that make me then? What the fuck, girl? Damn.
It's like, holy shit. I mean, I get that, you're human passing, but fuck.
Look, honestly, I'd still prefer the jumping vampire over Mei-Ling. Not that Mei-Ling's not attractive. Mei-Mei's more attractive.
Yeah, gotta love the demon lass. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then we also, in episode 2, are introduced to a character who really shouldn't have been here.
So fucking useless. Ba-da-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Pyron.
Pyron.
He's an alien warlord made of fire who seeks to conquer Earth. He showed up initially over 100 years ago, but he arrived on a comet and was driven off by the twins' mother.
Yep, that's that. So they have the most plot against him in the whole fucking show because he basically killed their mom because their mom had to kill herself to get rid of him.
Yeah. However, they also didn't give her sacrifice. They didn't give that the justice it deserved because she was also being attacked by a bunch of Darkstalkers at the same time for some reason.
Oh, no. Pyron's the reason the Darkstalkers exist.
Oh, right. They were effectively his spawn, but he had to have visited before then as well because a lot of these Darkstalkers were multiple centuries old.
Yeah, I think he's passed by a few times and it hasn't been worth his time to try. And then when he did just decide to try, someone fucked him up. And then this time he came back and he was like, I'm so powerful now. I'm going to just go and see if there's anyone worth fighting here.
That makes a lot of sense. And Pyron is actually voiced by David Kay, who he has 2 really notable roles for me. He's Slim in Cleo the Misfit Unicorn. And also he's fucking Clank
in the
Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, he's Clank in the Ratchet and Clank games. And my quote for him is, "Can this be the best Earth has to offer? Must I be thusly disappointed?"
Honestly, you will be disappointed, dude. It's Earth.
It's Earth, and B, who the fuck are you?
He's so fucking pointless.
He should have been like a B plot villain.
Maybe. I just don't think he should have shown up at all. If anything, we should have replaced him with like the fucking like Egyptian mummy guy as a bad guy. Oh
god, the mummy. Our poor mummy was done dirty. So there are in fact some other characters who technically exist in this show. They're not given any voices. They show up in a single scene and are defeated by Pyron. They're shown in some fun combat scenes in the OP, but Pyron just immediately shows up and murks them.
There's a girl called BB Hood, which looks like Red Riding Hood.
Right, but she has a gun.
But she's got a gun. Yeah, there's so many characters that could have done pretty good in this that they just never got their chance. There's Queen Bee or QB, which is a kind of like a bee version of Morgan with a giant bee butt.
Yeah, she got a booty.
Not one you want to clap cheeks on though, because it's got a stinger.
Nah, just put a cap on it.
Those are not the back shots you want. Fucking cap.
Yeah, just like a little rubber cap
for babies, like corners.
Yeah, a little rubber cap or a cork. It's like, all right, hold on, hun. Let me use protection. Pulls out a cork, slaps it on.
Oh man, we also didn't get to see Lilith.
We did not get to see Lilith, who, to my understanding, is both a younger sister, effectively, and a clone of Morgan. Is that about right?
I don't know if she's a clone. I know she's a younger sister.
Because I know she was made from Morgan's DNA and then given pink hair later.
I don't know. They kind of changed a lot of stuff between two games. And they did a bunch of like overwriting of the lore.
Okay.
But we don't get her, which makes sense. She's basically fucking
she's basically
Morgan anyways.
Yeah, she's basically Morgan with a pink bob.
But she's half angel.
There's angels?
I don't know, man, apparently.
Actually, speaking of which, my understanding, based on, we see a scene just before Pyron really begins assaulting Earth.
Yeah.
Where Dimitri wants to assault the world of the Darkstalkers.
Yes.
I thought during his assault that they were the angels, because Dimitri shoots a bunch of howitzers at the sky and opens a magical door, and there's this gilded castle floating in the air, and that's where the Darkstalkers live.
I believe so, yeah.
So
it's a different universe. It's like an alternate reality where they live.
It's an alternate reality, but it is also still a giant floating castle, golden castle in the sky. That's pretty heaven-coded to me.
Well, I think that's just what it's showing as. I think the actual castle itself is because when we see them in the castle later, they're talking about how the grounds have been surrounded by troops of evil Darkstalkers and stuff. So I don't know. But Pyron casts fucking meteor swarm on the fucking world with these fake suns.
He summons 5 of them that surround the earth and converge on a central point. That point being both the city that has Dimitri's castle and a massive Colosseum.
Yes.
Because this is a fighting game anime. You have to have a Colosseum. And in fact, you have to have a Colosseum where the Cell games take place effectively.
Yeah.
Where the big bad Pyron issues a challenge trying to bring the strongest people to do battle. Before we really get to that, though, we do have one other character who's introduced during a very brief moment with Felicia, actually.
Oh, yeah.
This is in episode 3. Let's see, where Felicia is just, getting her ass kicked by some Dalek-loving Huitzel who are just saying, exterminate, exterminate. And she is rescued by the other side of the furry coin. The Wolfman himself, John Taliban.
His name.
His name is actually John Talbane. However, every time I read it, it was Taliban. It's just my brain auto-corrected it. But also, his name isn't... I don't think they say his name at all.
He's also known as Gallon. Yeah, I don't think he says his name either. But this is a fight that furries will love.
Absolutely. You got a tiny little cat girl, mostly humanoid cat girl. And also, this is an anthro wolf. He's an anthro wolf. Into the Woods ain't got shit on John Taliban.
Nope. Okay, the start of episode 3 made me so fucking mad, and not because Pyron's casually blowing the fuck out of Earth. It's that everyone's evacuating and they're taking boats into this massive line, and they're like, the boats are full, but what about that boat? And then these fucking rich people show up in their car.
These fucking rich fucks.
They get out and they're like, we've reserved an entire boat for just you and your like 3 family members. And then the little kid fucking steals Anita's doll and goes to throw it in the ocean, and like she gets mad and she like sucks it back, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's a Darkstalker.
Oh, we have to kill this child again.
Rich humans are the plague in all fucking fucking universes. I hope their boat gets Titan submersibled. Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
I really wish that Donovan just would have, used his massive sword and sunk the fucker.
Well, then the other people couldn't get on it, though.
I guess.
He should have just killed the people being fucking rude.
But you can't show him killing normal humans. That's what bad people do.
I know.
That's why when Napoleon shows up later...
Okay,
the people are also evacuating town via train. A bunch of humans are getting on these train tracks, and they're trying to get the hell away from the city that the sun summoned by Pyron are converging on.
Yes.
And then this massive armored train shows up, blocks the tracks, and Napoleon steps out and says, "None, this is our train track. We shall only use it for our giant howitzers." I don't know why I made him switch into German there, but you get what I'm going for there because he's a bit of a dictator.
Yeah.
He says, "No one will be evacuating the city on my watch.
Because you won't need to. I'm here to protect you.
I am the big strong man here to protect you from all evil, the evil invading menace."
And it's like, bruh. And like,
This fucker.
We real quick to get caught up to this point, Felicia gets her ass kicked in this battle with the wolf and the robots, but some humans proving that not everyone is bad. Like, this doctor helps her get back to health. These little boys leave her some flowers. It's very sweet. They know she's a Darkstalker, but she's not evil.
Yeah, the townspeople know her. She has her traveling show. She brings the people joy.
But then the fucking Mr. Napoleon just like blows her train up, and she's like, "I'm going to help people get out of here."
Yeah, she was trying to actually bring a bunch of people on a train and have them leave. However, Napoleon said, no, we're not using that train track right now, but fuck you, we're going to blow it up. So they blow her train up, they take her prisoner, and they blow up a shit ton of people.
And then they blame it on her.
Because, she's a furry. She must be evil. All furries are evil.
Again, I'm pretty sure this thing's secretly set in America because they were like, we saw one bad person, so we sent a bomb into an entire building, and we just happened to kill other people. It's clearly the fault of the one bad person in the building. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
This was a targeted precision drone strike. Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, however, there is a moment with Morrigan. She's floating in the water.
Yes, there is.
She's all like sexy floating. She's like, here's something. Her bats show up and give her some news. And she like
just, perfectly emerges from the water. She covers her breasts as she stands up because she knows that we, the audience, are watching.
Here's what I like. I appreciate how subtle the fan service is in this, because there's a difference between fan service for the sake of fan service and fan service when it's meant to be sexy.
Yeah. And
everything she does with this is meant, like, in her casual outfits, meant to be sexy, not meant to be super horny and weird. It's not like modern levels of anime bounce. We're not seeing Keijo, which Sean unfortunately made me Google. We're not seeing that kind of stuff. There's a time and place for that, sure, but that ain't here. It wouldn't fit the vibe. And all of it's done in a sexy way, and I really appreciate that.
Especially they didn't linger on anything too long. It was just... This is a moment of a character just kind of being themselves.
Yeah, she stands up, she calls her glimmery bats, her outfit turns into her usual battle outfit, and she goes on her way.
And honestly, that really is just episode 3, isn't that?
Yeah, we get some train fights. We get some backstory about the robots are here to destroy the world because people are kind of shitty now. And we get the backstory on the girl's moms. Yeah, that's kind of where it is.
Yeah, each scene has so much going on, but when you're breaking it down for a review, there really isn't necessarily that much to say unless we wanted to go hyper in depth. And I feel that would be doing the show a disservice because people should watch this.
Usually we would go through kind of scene by scene, but a show like this where there's so many intense characters, you got to break more down into the characters. Like this is the last time we see Felicia. But yeah. I hope just the best for her because she's the sweetest, most innocent little bean, and she's just helping out these people in this town that is being bombarded by fucking Sieg Heil Napoleon, apparently, according to your voices.
Apparently. Yeah, because after she was captured, there was a jailbreak that went on because Weasel were attacking. The doctor that helped her initially managed to break her out of prison.
Hell yeah.
And it was just such a sweet moment. And then she takes another train with John Taliban and blows up a ton of Weasel with it.
Yeah, hell yeah. We do end, though, with Anita just, like, fucking having a breakdown.
Yeah, Anita's having a breakdown because Donovan and Anita, well, Donovan has decided for Anita that they are going to not go to the main city. They do not want to get involved in this fight. This is not their fight. However, the twins, whom Anita has grown attached to, are going to the city. They need to do something about this. Their mother died to try and stop Pyron the first time. It is their duty to stop him now.
Duty. Sorry.
And Anita,
it just came out of me. I'm sorry.
And Anita is just watching them leave. It says, but they're going to die.
And then she has this fucking freak out about how being nice isn't a strength or a superpower. Girl, in this day and age, it fucking is. Like, being nice is something that you should count as a fucking strength, because I would much rather know someone and go into battle with someone that is level-headed and kind than someone who can lift 200 fucking pounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta have humanity behind you, because that gives you your reason to fight.
And this is kind of Anita actually showing some of her humanity in the fact that she's not just a robot at this point. And Donovan decides, hey, you know what? All right, Anita, thank you for showing me that you can actually care for people. Now, I'm going to do something for you. And they just decide to follow the twins and potentially just fucking die.
Here's the thing, though. He, in episode 4, gives us some backstory of like how he's like so tortured by his like half demon self that he was literally impaling himself on wooden spears to control his human killing urges.
Yeah, while he's at this monastery that is filled with a bunch of other people that are half demon.
They're all chill about it, but he's not.
He has some massive inner guilt problems.
He's got some crazy religious trauma. Someone forced him to go to Sunday school when he really shouldn't have been going.
Yeah, he should just, maybe see a therapist, I think.
Could you? Hold on. Okay. Role play with me here for a second. Put on your best Donovan voice, okay?
Okay.
Donovan, you come in here, you talk about your problems, lad. What is it that drives you to feel so upset and crazy?
I have darkness within me. I will destroy all darkness in this world.
Donovan, lad, everyone's got darkness inside of us. You need to dig deeper. What's the cause of this darkness?
My father was a demon.
Go a little bit further into that for me, lad. Was he a drinker? Was he an abuser?
He literally emerged from the realm of the Darkstalkers.
You know what, lad? I don't think I'm going to be able to help you here. I won't charge you for the hour. I just need you to get the fuck out. That's how I feel like it would go for him. I don't think anybody would be able to
No, I think what he needs to do is just, shoot the shit with the twins for a while. Because they helped mellow him out. They did help mellow him out during their few scenes together.
I don't know if I'm going to include that stupid roleplay. I don't know why that popped in my brain really quick.
That was fun.
Maybe I will.
Who knows?
Just for some reason, I was like, I wonder what that would be like. And in my brain, it wouldn't go well.
Yeah, apparently, I accidentally found this out when I was looking into Donovan's character. In the later games, he does actually give in to the inner darkness.
I mean, you'd have to for character development. If this was a 12-episode series, we'd get this in episode 3, and then in episode 7, he'd have a snap.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd just snap and go all evil. Apparently, in the last game that he is in, like story-wise, he's actually trying to kill a full-grown Anita now. Oh. Yeah.
That's not good.
No idea what happens there. I'm sure Capcom will do something with it.
This is the episode where we open with Pyron just beating up all those extra characters.
Yep. He's just fucking murking everyone.
And it's like, man, give me more of that. But no, we're not going to get that.
No. I think it would have been great if you're going to have him murking all of those characters, especially this episode felt really bloated in certain parts, but also far too lean in others. I think it would have been best if they had maybe a 2 or 3 minute scene with each of the characters that Pyron destroys, but them trying to go about their lives or finding out that, oh, this is actually happening. For example, with the mermaid guy, the merman. Merman. Oh,
by Lennon. Sorry, that's a commercial. Maybe that's just Canadian thing.
I was going Zoolander, but all right. So the merman, because
what is this, a demon realm for ants?
So the merman, you could have him with his, the wife that he found after so many years and his 2 children or whatever. Yeah. And then seeing this going on, and he's like, I'm sorry, but I hate to leave you, but this is something that threatens all of us. I have to go. And then he gets murked. Yeah. Instead, it shows him getting obliterated by Pyron.
Just murked. But We do finally get some more vamp battles with Dimitri against Pyron.
We do, for all of about 15 seconds.
Okay. I do have to say, I love Pyron's moves that they mimic from the video game. He turns into like a gooey Hulk smashy Loki arm.
Yep.
And just like flings him back and forth on the ground.
He flings him around. He does so many fun little things showing off that his body really isn't a physical body. He is more or less just a bunch of energy that he has condensed into a form. His moves are really fucking fun.
It's like, it's so funny because Dimitri gets his fucking ass handed to him.
He gets absolutely wrecked and then just thrown into the castle where he's buried by rubble.
Yeah, it like knocks the whole fucking thing over.
Until Morrigan shows up later and...
This is where we get Morrigan first, though, in her like sexy casual outfit.
Yeah.
Because she's like in the courts and they're trying to get all the people together being like, look, we need to find some peace and harmony or we're all going to get destroyed. And everyone is just like,
but the demon lords of Florida refuse to team up with you.
Yeah, it's like they literally say fuck a ceasefire, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bruh. And I was so angry, but then Morrigan's there and I'm like, oh, Morrigan. And then it's like, they're so angry. Oh, Morrigan. And then they get attacked by random demon shit, apparently.
Because when they were attacked by demon shit, I assumed that would have been Dimitri, but also it wasn't. It very clearly wasn't.
No, the demon world are at odds with more than just him, apparently. But do you happen to have notes on what happens next with Morrigan and Dimitri?
Kind of. Hold on, let me pull that up. Morrigan reveals she has the hots for yaoi hands.
Kind of, right? Like
she says, I never thought I would find myself being attracted to you. And then he bites her.
He says he bites her first.
Oh God, he does bite her first.
And then she's like, I never thought I'd find, and he goes, it's because you see me as the future of the demon world.
As your future, I think. And then as the future king of the demon world.
And like, okay. At first, I was like, ugh, they made her just want to be with the bad dudes, terrible character development. But then you kind of look at her reasons and you're like, oh, hold on a second here. She makes a comment that the demon world is stagnant. It needs rapid change to be able to like have growth and see things. However, I think she realizes if she just lets him be the Lord, shit's going to actually go to hell because he's going to be all revengey. I think she realizes if she joins him basically as his queen, she can guide him through it so that we don't get what's currently happening in certain parts of North America.
Yeah, that, an extra guiding hand to help contain and control the chaos instead of a chainsaw wielding maniac.
Yeah, and she's also seen them fingers and she's like
each of those is basically a dick.
They're fucking German sausage hands. Good Lord.
And after that, they decide not to fucking bother fighting Pyron either.
They're like, they fight some robots and then they're like, we should leave it to the humans to fight this guy. It's not our fucking battle. It really is.
It kind of is because that impacts your world as well. But this is all while Pyron is having a battle with Donovan.
Well, first the twins.
Oh, first the twins who they get their asses fucking handed to them.
They're trying their best.
They're trying. But no, they get knocked out almost immediately. And then Donovan shows up. Well, actually, first Anita walks into the arena and screams Donovan, just like she's a ring announcer. In this corner at 482 pounds, the Monk of Steel, the damned Dampier, Donovan.
But it seems like she's doing it like she's scared. Like she walks out there to be like, I'm scared, come protect me, to like encourage him to come fight.
Yeah, I think that I'm putting down to the vocal direction.
Okay, because it was weird. I was like, what's the point of her doing this?
Because if she screamed that in anger, that would have made so much more sense.
Yeah. But also, she doesn't have a history with this fucking Pyron guy, so why the fuck does she care?
Why does she care? She wants to protect the twins. She likes the twins.
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe, yeah.
I don't think they were in danger at that time, were they?
They like knocked them away, but then he literally goes, stop bothering me, you're not worth my time, because he only wants to fight powerful people. It's the same reason he didn't kill anybody else. He's just like, you're not worth my fucking effort. I'll destroy the world eventually, but I want to, I'll do it all at once. I want to fight someone worth it.
And then Donovan shows up.
And gets fucking blasted.
He gets blasted so hard. This is the second time we watch him bleed out for an extended period of time.
And fucking Anita's like pooling the blood in her hands, be like, no, go back into him. Go back into him.
I think it was over 10 minutes of the episode, right? Where he's just sitting there oozing blood.
So much blood.
And then this is when Anita shows that, oh, she can bring people back from the dead. She decided not to do that earlier in any of the other points, but she decided, yeah, you know what? I care enough about this guy. I'll bring him back. And then Donovan just gets up, good as new.
And then apparently, because it's the 90s, he fucking skateboards, baby.
He throws his massive sword and he turns into the fucking Silver Surfer as he skates on this thing.
Fucking does a kickflip through Pyron's chest.
And he just bores a hole through him, and that's that.
Like, it's literally, he puts this hole in him, and then, oh, sorry, I should note, before he does this for the folks at home, we do get one of those giant fucking robots, but like on crack.
Yeah, we get the Megazord. Yep.
And it like fights him and loses. And that's when like he comes to life or whatever, does the shit. So yeah, there's fucking giant mech battles in this, which you wouldn't have expected, but there is.
Yeah.
And yeah, he literally is like, I don't understand. Everyone's so nice. Why am I dying? And we've mentioned this earlier. The end of this is where everything falls apart.
Yeah.
The robot in space is sending like signals back to its like rest of the robots underground and whatnot, being like, things are chill now. Peace.
But the robot showed up showing compassion. We must not destroy them yet, I guess.
It's like, I'm realizing this now. I might be kind of wrong, but like in the moment, I was like, but originally you came here to deal with fucking Dimitri. The robots showed up for Dimitri, and then they happened to see fucking Pyron, and they're like, okay, fucking Pyron, we're gonna kick his ass. But like, he's still fucking there. Maybe it's because him and Morrigan just went off to the demon world, and they're no longer on Earth anymore. And he's like, well, everything's going back to normal now, I guess. But there's still other Darkstalkers. There's still other things.
There's still the Darkstalkers, but it does show that some humans, actually, no, none of the people that actually do any good in this series, aside from the Doctor, are good people. All of the other humans that we are introduced to are real shitheads.
Yeah, they fucking suck.
So I think the Weitzel really had the right idea there.
Yeah. Yeah. Of the two things, if I had to keep one between Pyron and the Weitzel, it would be the Weitzel.
Yeah.
I do not need Pyron. The Weitzel can show up and kind of be this antagonist in the background. Pyron was so fucking dumb. But if you ignore these last fucking 15 minutes, this shit's pretty damn good.
Absolutely. Honestly, I think what I thought they were going for until Pyron showed up is that the Weitzel were going to be like the driving force that was going to cause all of the characters to work together as
come together like the fucking Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and then, that ending with Weitzel would make sense where he says, they are capable of working together. Let's not kill them. Let's not genocide. Could you imagine
that giant fucking Megazord with everyone fighting it individually? Like, pow, 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 pow.
Because you can't fight that thing one-on-one. You need to work together.
It would have been so fucking cool.
Oh, that would have been great. Felicia and John like climbing up its back and trying to get inside it to fight from in there.
Yep.
You'd have the mummy tangling its feet. Oh.
It would have been so good. Now, I'm working on a YouTube series right now, like a little short kind of series about old anime that deserve modern remakes. This, if you kept the same vibe and didn't try to like modernize it to like being some silly like bouncy anime.
Oh god, yeah.
If you kept it as like a dark anime, I think having a 12 episode modern retelling of this would be so fucking popular. The merch would be insane. You'd sell so many figures of all these characters.
Oh yeah, Capcom would be making money hand over fist.
But for some reason, and that some reason is because Capcom's kind of a bitch about this stuff, we're never going to see that.
No, we aren't. But I think that might be for the best because what I think would be a bit more likely is that we would have yet another Berserk situation.
So that's why I'm saying you can't ruin the vibe, but Berserk definitely ruined the fucking vibe.
Yeah, because no matter who you give it to, you have to give it to a studio that has as much money and time as they need. And that's unfortunately not much of a thing in today's animation industry.
Well, I would say up until recently, because the Ranma remake looks phenomenal. It's incredible.
Okay.
Dan to Dan looks incredible. What's it called? The Rose of Versailles that just came out that's being done by Mappa, again, looks incredible. I think if you gave this to Mappa.
Yeah, actually Mappa I think would probably be Mappa, or I'm almost tempted to say Bones, but I think Mappa would definitely be the right call.
Right now, Mappa is absolutely crushing things. Unfortunately, they don't have good business practices with their artists half the time.
Yeah.
But ignoring that unfortunate thing, studio-wise, they would be probably the best. But there's a surprising thing about this series as a whole from both anime and video games. America and Japan, both divisions worked on it together to create this.
They did?
To the point where the reason that Morrigan is a succubus instead of a vampire is because of the American division, who said we should have more variance in our characters. Let's have her be a succubus. And they said, oh, that's so cool. That's so much cooler than having her be a female, just straight up vampire.
Hold on. So is this why so many So Morrigan is the initial introduction of succubi to the Japanese canon?
According to the internet, this was actually a novel concept in Japan in 1994, succubi. While not the first use in Japan, Wizardry 2 and 3 used succubus, but it was not a normal thing to be made in Japanese media. So it existed before, but it was not common. After this, due to the succubi's nature, Japanese erotic productions started using them more as their became widespread thanks to Morrigan.
Way to go. Yeah, I thought it was something related to like the Nukakubi, where they're a vampire where at night their head flies off into the distance to suck blood and attack. But apparently that's just its own thing.
Yeah, she helped to inspire a bunch of stuff through Maria the Virgin Witch, Interview with Monster Girls, Castlevania, a bunch of stuff with that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, a little bit of history lesson.
She was named after the homonymous Celtic crow goddess, the Morrigan, which are interpreted as three sisters.
Okay.
Apparently, she was originally supposed to have two characters in the concept, and then eventually that became, she was supposed to be two, which might be that succubus incubus thing, but they decided to split it into Lilith and a brother, Jeddah.
Jeddah. Who the fuck is Jeddah?
I'll send you a picture.
Okay. I'm assuming he'd be like a boss at some point.
I don't know. He looks like this. He's kind of cool looking.
Honestly, that is how that's a vampire design that I much would have preferred over Dimitri.
Yep. Yeah, her influence is huge. Like there's something called Skull Girls.
Love Skull Girls.
One of the characters' color palettes is inspired by Morrigan.
Honestly, Skull Girls, a lot of the characters feel like they were inspired by Darkstalkers characters.
Specifically Misfortune, apparently.
Oh, Misfortune's fun.
I do suggest checking out the wiki because there's so many good facts about the games and characters related to her.
Hell yeah.
There's also so many good fucking figures of her.
And yet she's received such little love in regards to actual games.
Oh, here's a cool fun fact about her. She's Scottish in her lineage.
Okay.
She was born in 1678 in a region of Scotland.
So in fact, she should have had a Scottish voice actress.
Honestly, if she came out and she was just like, Dimitri, I'm going to absolutely fucking destroy you, lad. It wouldn't have sounded as hot, but like it would have been fucking hilarious.
It would have got a different nerve in your brain going.
Yeah. I can't do a good sexy Scottish. I can do a decent like, oh, sexy darling for your English ladies. Come here and drain your blood, darling.
Matt Berry?
I'm gonna drain your blood. I can't do him.
that your initial one sounded a fair bit like Matt Berry when he's not upping the Berryisms.
Hold on. So if I'm like, darling, I'm here to drink your blood. I can't do it. No, there's a whole bunch of background on these. The lore behind Darkstalkers is pretty in depth for what it is, considering that it's like only a handful of games.
Only a handful of games and minimal really in the way of story mode within those games.
Yeah. She's in a ton of like other fighting games.
Yeah, she's in like Marvel v. Capcom where she becomes friends with Spider-Man.
It was at this point the boys spent the next 15 minutes simping over Morrigan figures, characters in her costumes and other games and other random bullshit for a good, solid 15 minutes. Anyways. Bring us back into the episode here. Done simping over
now that we're done simping over Morrigan A slut.
15 minutes of simping over. So the big question now is, what would you rate this out of 10?
Oh, there's so many ways that this series kind of dropped the ball or shat the bed. I, however, still feel that this series is above average in pretty much every single regard. If I'm trying to approach this objectively, yeah, I feel that this is maybe like a 7.12.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm around the same way. I was going to give it like a 7.33. So we're about the same. The users don't agree.
Oh no, they're going to rate it low.
They gave it what do you think they rated it?
Given now, is this Mal rating or is it IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes?
Mal.
Mal rating. Okay. Now, actually, Mal normally rates things unfairly high. However, I feel like this is one of the things, because it's older and because it does have a fair share of flaws that people are going to malign unfairly. I feel this is probably going to be like a 6.21.
Little higher. They rated this on Mal a 6.56.
Okay.
So not as low, but oddly, IMDb rates it a 6.4, even lower.
Really? You see, if this had been released in its current quality even more recently, it would have a much higher rating, because most of the users on Mal are on the younger side and aren't going to be going and watching a show from before they were born.
That's one problem I have with having I almost said Rotten Tomato, a retro anime podcast, is that so much stuff just doesn't get the appreciation, and it makes you a little sad.
On that topic, there's a project I'm planning on working on, and I'm happy to invite you on the second it gets off the ground, where it is going to be reviewing maligned, misunderstood, or underrated horror films.
Hell yeah. I, on my shelf behind me, not this one, back there, have like probably 200 hours worth of like B-50s horror films.
Oh, hell yeah.
Every year, my dad would get me multiples of those like 10 films on one DVD disc from like the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
And some of them that, probably are like pirated, maybe. Who knows how they got the rights to them. That's how I first watched. I had a DVD it was just from a bargain bin. It was Dark Floors, which is Lordi, the Finnish metal band. They were in Eurovision once. Monster Metal. They had their own film. It's kind of fun. Not good on the story front, but as well as Wrong Turn, which is a fairly popular horror film that's kind of girl gets lost in the woods after her car dies, and kind of Texas Chainsaw family situation goes on, but also features some very gross scenes.
Lovely. Well, before we head out, are there any specific final notes you have that we didn't get to?
I think as we've gone through the series, the characters, and all of the story beats, however minor they are, I think we've really touched on everything I really feel about this show.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for sticking with us and learning all about Darkstalkers, aka Vampire Hunter Darkstalkers Revenge, aka just Vampire Hunter, aka a million different things. And thank you, Dylan, for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Mackenzie, for inviting me.
And listening and watching some much better anime than Sean got. I feel a little bad, but not super bad.
Oh, trust me. What he has in store for you, he deserves it.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous for when you guys have us on, because I'm sure there's going to be some kind of retaliation. And I'm more nervous for Lindsay because I can handle most things. So if he can break me, I will be incredibly impressed. But she's definitely going to get broken herself for sure.
Sean knows how to break people. One of the first things he showed me before the podcast was even a concept, was a little sister is all you need.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that. That's gross.
Yeah.
I Googled that. Wasn't a fan.
No.
But if y'all want to get access to more content, including a pre-banter where I make Dylan guess if something is a cocktail or an anime, you can head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/animates. That's available for free and paid members. There's a whole bunch of bonus content like that, as well as a couple of bonus episodes that we couldn't release on regular platforms because they were talking about something that was a little too sexy.
Ooh.
So you can go check that out. You also get access to our Discord on the paid and free tiers as well. So check that out, patreon.com/animates. Another bonus you get is we do read out your name on the podcast, because much like I said when Sean was on, we've taken so many things from you guys and we've done it shamelessly.
Hey, your production quality is fucking top tier. I am so happy to be sharing a platform with you guys.
Well, thank you so much. That means the world. So with that being said, I guess we're going to read off our followers. So thank you so much to our supporting characters, where we've got Matthew, we've got Heisei Holmes, we've got Camikins, and of course her adorable little Ebichu icon, and ending that up with Aladoris. And then moving on to our retro cuties, we've got Duffo, Carly J. Jepson, which is a fantastic, fantastic name. And who's this, I wonder? A deep, sexy voice says,
Relax.
ooh. So thank y'all for that. And then, of course, we move on to our Chibi Champions, where we've got Swamp Wizard, and Butler Rat has now done his first stream collab, and I spent most of the entire time dying from laughter. Hell yeah, I look forward to catching that when you guys get your stuff up and going real good. You told me what it's all about, Butler Rat, and that's going to be a good one. So check out our Discord if you want to get access to all that kind of jazz too and see updates on that. But yeah, thank you so much. We will catch you next week when Lindsay will be giving me something to watch because she's had such a good fucking time. She's either had time off or not had to do much, or she's just given me stuff these last few episodes. So I do want to make it clear on her first episode back, I'm not going to be very nice. So make sure to check that out. And then in the next coming weeks, we will be introducing our next long form series, which will have a bit of a format change and a definite change from the fucking mindfuck that is Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh, such a heavy series for y'all to have gotten into.
Yeah. So we're going to do something a little more fun and easy to talk about, but still a beloved show. So check out for that in the coming days. And make sure to check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@animates, where we've got a bunch of cool videos, including YouTube shorts where I make my fellow co-hosts rank blindly anime characters. For Sean, he had One Piece. Lindsay's got the Dragon Ball and the Pokemon. For Dylan, we did some anime goth girls.
Ooh, yeah.
So make sure to check that out and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow the podcast, hit us up with a rating because it really, really does help us out. Now, I will say, normally Lindsay gives us the ooh-woo at the end there. Do you want to give me an ooh-woo for the post song? It doesn't have to be high. It could be a deep ooh-woo.
Ooh.
Someone's going to put that in a bank.
Ara, ara.
Oh my.
So scandalous.
Dear me.